Flowing contours, bereft of unsightly corners and edges. A streamlined design that looks futuristic today. But this car is a cousin of the original Volkswagen Bug. The man who created it was Ferdinand Porsche, and the car was a design precursor to the production model that would make his name world famous. The Porsche 64 was a very limited edition, with just 3 built. The aerodynamic form helped boost its top speed to 160 kilometers per hour. The car is of huge value to Porsche, explains Thomas Koenig, co-founder of a classic cars museum in Hamburg. It was one of Ferdinand Porsche's dreams. He wanted to build racing cars and products for the people. The Porsche 64 was created in 1939 in parallel with the original Volkswagen, the Beetle. Ferdinand Porsche was head of VW at the time. The 64 was supposed to compete in a high-profile Berlin to Rome race. The race was canceled due to the outbreak of World War II. The Porsche 64 would have been among the favorites. The aerodynamics and lightweight construction were ahead of their time. The 64 is housed in a museum located in Hamburg's redeveloped Hafen City Docks area. The unique collection on display focuses on post-war German racing car heritage, and therefore Porsche. It was a personal mission for Thomas Koenig and Oliver Schmidt. The two friends had always been fascinated by Porsche models. That interest evolved over the years, and eventually they said, there's more to German post-war motorsports than just Porsche. It was the post-war Reconstruction era that really interested them, a time when car makers had very modest means at their disposal. One of those pioneers was Otto Mate, a racing driver from Austria. He built and drove this curious-looking contraption. After his death in 1995, the museum bought that Porsche Volkswagen mongrel as well as Mate's spare parts collection. Thomas Koenig had no idea of the treasure trove he'd accidentally acquired. It was while rummaging around in old boxes belonging to Mate that Thomas Koenig discovered parts from the second 64 model, and now takes pride of place in the museum. The biggest problem was the missing body, he recalls. They took the model they already had as a template, but each model was experimental, so there were a lot of differences. Restoring that second 64 to its former glory took the best part of a decade, but you won't find this beauty gracing the streets. In terms of automotive historical value, it's inestimable. The 4-cylinder boxer engine, with a displacement just short of 1 liter, was a product of Volkswagen. The air-cooled engine with 2 carburetors generated about 35 horsepower. This unique aerodynamic body was designed by Erwin Komenda, the man behind the design of the Volkswagen, as well as the record-breaking Mercedes T80 later on. All these projects were overseen by Ferdinand Porsche. The specifications book from back then must have included elements of the Volkswagen. You can recognize the form of the Beetle in the ribbing here, in the hood, at the front, and then at the rear. We find these air inlets that were featured in the Beetle too. Those in the know will recognize what you could call a squashed Beetle. And the basis for later rear-engine Porsche models, the 356 and the 911. The interior is pure Porsche, sober or even Spartan. The awesome 64, the first racing car ever to bear the famous Porsche name.